Hello and welcome to the Paul Prop Master Movie Reviews! Well, this is a bit awkward. And where's my audience? Oh dear. Alright, I apologize for the intro, so let me start again. Hi, I'm the Paul Prop Master Movie Reviewer. Say, have you heard of the 1944 movie I Accuse My Parents? I thought so. But apparently IMDb does. Why? Because it's in the bottom 100 list. But does it deserve this criticism? Well, let's dive right into I Accuse My Parents to find out. The movie starts out with our main character, Jimmy Wilson, in court, charged with manslaughter.
Before we go any farther, I urge you once again to speak, if there is anything you can say in your own defense.
Who does he blame for his crime?
Well, maybe I shouldn't say this, Your Honor, but I accuse my parents. Well, Your Honor, I don't believe my mother and father should have ever had a child. I don't believe they ever wanted the responsibility. Oh, it wasn't that they were ever
boo-hoo, life stinks. So, our protagonist explains the backstory to the judge where he experiences parents who... To make matters worse, Jimmy's mother is invited to a committee of mothers the next morning where she shows up drunk.
Sorry if I'm late. I'm Jimmy Wilson's mother. She's drunk. How shocking. Poor Jimmy. How terrible.
Mom!
Well, hello, Jimmy. Am I late? When's the meeting start?
Come on, Mom, let's go home.
Oh, what's your hurry? Aren't you going to introduce me?
Some other time, Mom. Please, come on, let's go home.
Well, goodbye, folks. Oh, what's your hurry, Jimmy? I want to...
Anyways, Jimmy finds a job at a shoe store where he meets his love interest, Kitty Reed. She tells him to drop off the shoes at her apartment, and they chit-chat. This is actually the best scene out of the whole movie. Why? Because the acting is actually good in this scene, and it drowns out the horrible music.
How shocking.
Jimmy goes to a nightclub where Kitty sings a stupid song, and she happens to be a Molova gangster named Charles Blake. So what does Blake want?
So as I was saying, Jimmy, if you'd like to add to your income sometime, I might be able to throw a few odd jobs your way.
What kind of odd job?
Oh, little things you could do for me after working hours.
Well, this should raise a few flags, right?
Well, thanks, I will.
Seriously? He's probably the sketchiest man you've met your entire life. And you want to work for him part-time? And of course he does that by delivering suspicious packages for him while not realizing he's committing crime. Wow. You're an idiot, Jimmy. This brings me to another topic. Where are his parents? They've only appeared briefly in a few scenes. So do they have any role in this?
Jimmy's changed these last few weeks. Have you noticed it, Dan?
Yeah, he seems to have grown up overnight.
Well, I don't like it. What do you suppose he's doing out every night in the week? For several nights he didn't come home at all.
Maybe he stayed with a friend. It's a little late to start asking questions now.
Here's my question. Why are you guys in this movie? From this point on, there are almost 0 scenes up until the ending. And besides, they only make a few brief appearances here and there, only to say a sentence or two. So what is the point of all this? I wouldn't make a complaint about this if it weren't for the movie title. So Charles the gangster receives a letter from a friend of his delivered by Jimmy. He instructs his 2 buddies to basically rob a warehouse which contains a bunch of jewelry. And since our hero is very gullible to say the least, he agrees to be the driver. But first, Charles Blake has a deal with Jimmy's girlfriend Kitty by telling her to dump him.
Poor Jimmy.
So the gangsters and Jimmy pull off the heist, but unfortunately an innocent person is killed. So Jimmy finally realizes what is going on.
Why didn't you tell me I was driving a car to a holdup?
I didn't see any reason to tell you, Jimmy. I never told you about any of the other jobs you did for me.
What other jobs? What do you mean?
You don't think I've been paying you the kind of money I have just to pick up packages? If they'd been on a level, I could have gotten a messenger for a lot less than you've been getting.
I didn't know there was anything crooked about the job. I don't want any part of it. I'm quitting right now.
No, you're not. Nobody ever quits on Charlie Blake. He doesn't want him to.
You can't blame this on your parents. Now can you, Mr. Jimmy Wilson? Two police officers show up to the shoe store where Jimmy works, and so he goes to Charles for a bailout.
Two plainclothesmen from police headquarters have been to the shoe store asking about me.
Well, that's pretty quick work. They must have traced the car.
Now, look, you got me into this. You got to get me out. You said you would.
Take it easy. I said I would, and I will. Now go to the bank and get all the stuff out of the safe deposit box and lay low for the rest of the day. At 11 o'clock tonight, meet the boys at 6 and Kent Street.
And then what?
They'll have some money for you and they'll slip you out of town. After a few weeks, when it blows over, you can come back.
Yes, and nobody can see us.
You know, guys, there's a better alternative. After getting mugged by the gangsters, Jimmy calls his dad.
Tell him I'm not here.
Then he runs away from home. Allow me to present you the best part of the movie. Cue the music! To sum up this scene, Jimmy runs into a restaurant which he plans on robbing, but the owner, named Al, notices. Instead of turning him in, he feels sympathetic towards Jimmy, and he agrees to allow Jimmy to work for him. Yeah, even though this scene is quite dumb, there's something even more implausible. Can't you believe this guy has more character development than the parents? I mean, read the movie title, screenwriters. Sheesh! After a brief time working for Al, Jimmy confesses his crimes. Al accompanies him back home to turn him in. Jimmy finds out the truth from Kitty about her breaking up with him, and he goes to confront Blake.
If he finds out you're here, he'll kill us both.
No, he won't, because he's going to the police station with me. You and Al can call the cops and follow.
Jimmy, wait! Jimmy!
Yes, listen to your lady friend, Jimmy. Wait for the cops! Now then, the finale!
But you're going to tell everything that's happened between us. And if I don't, the police are on their way here to see that you do.
Okay, Jimmy. I'll go with you. Hold it.
I tried to take the gun away from him, but it went off. Oh, I know I've lied, I've cheated. I've done a lot of things that I shouldn't have done. But maybe I wouldn't have started lying to my schoolmates if I hadn't been ashamed of my home life.
Liar! Here's the conclusion. Jimmy, it's all my parents' fault. Judge, just a 5-year suspended sentence with 2 years probation. And of course, a lousy ending.
And you are not the only parents guilty of such neglect. I speak to parents everywhere when I say that if, in the pursuit of your own pleasures and occupations, you neglect your children, realize now before it is too late, this might have been your boy.
Yeah, that's it, folks. This is just a typically bad movie. The story's out of focus, the characters are bland, Jimmy's an idiot, the music is bad, and of course the parents are barely in this movie, which should have just been the main focus of the story in the first place. Instead, it's just a forgettable crime movie with a phoned-in message. Oh, and by the way, this movie loves the word swell.
Oh, Mom, swell.
Oh, that's swell, Jimmy. I'll be looking for you.
Oh, swell. Gee, you were swell, Kitty. That'd be swell if you would, Mr. Blake.
Must have been a swell build-up you gave him to keep him away like this.
Man, I just hope this doesn't get any worse.